Bada swing bada. Hey, swing bada.
What's up, Jays fans? I'm Junior. This is the Jays Roundup. Today, special episode. We're talking about the deadline. There are about 5 days to go, 4 days to go. But before we go any further, don't forget to smash that like button. Just smash it. And leave us a comment. Let us know who you think we should be going after right now. There's a lot of names out there. There's a lot of sellers, but there's a lot of buyers. So let's see where we're going to end up. And then don't forget, subscribe to Offside and Out of Bounds. We've got some absolutely phenomenal content coming out on a weekly basis, several times a week, in fact. And we'd love to have you a part of our journey. Let's get ready.
Buyers and sellers. Okay, so let's get down to business. Deadline day, the last day of the season where you can impact your team for a deep playoff run, or the other side of the coin, stock up on some prospect capital. So the first thing you need to do on deadline day is figure out who the buyers and sellers are. Let's start off in the AL East. Boston, Tampa, New York, Jays are all buyers. Orioles are sellers. AL Central, Chicago's been running away with that division. They are definitely a buyer, and the rest of the division, well, they're sellers. In the AL West, you got Houston and Oakland, definitely buyers. Seattle's in the middle. You got LA and Texas are definitely sellers, and I think Seattle might lean towards selling. In the NL East, we got the Mets, Braves, and Phillies are all buyers. Washington and Miami are sellers. In the Central, we got Milwaukee, definitely a buyer. Cincinnati is about 6.5 games back, so they could be buyers, but they could be sellers as well. St. Louis and the Cubs and the Pirates are the remaining in the division, all sellers. In the NL West, we've got San Fran, the Dodgers, and Padres geared up for an arms race in the West. They are all buyers, and Colorado Rockies and Arizona Diamondbacks are both sellers. Now, what do the Jays need? The one thing they don't need is offense. They've been pretty much at the top of baseball when it comes to offense all year. They're not prone to long runs of inconsistent scoring, so let's not focus on the offense. Real issues here have been consistency with starting pitching and the bullpen. So before we touch on what each of the sellers in the league have to offer us, let's talk about some internal options. Alek Manoah, who's currently on the IL with back issues, is expected back mid-August. He is 2-1, 52 strikeouts, 2.9 ERA, and 40 innings pitched. Anthony Castro is expected back mid-August. He's 1-2 with 1 save, 28 strikeouts, and a 5.31 ERA in 20 innings pitched. Now, prior to hitting the IL, he was leaking some runs a little bit and giving up 3 in an inning and a third. Tyler Chatwood is expected back late July. He's 1-2, 1 save, 32 strikeouts, and 28 innings pitched. Julian Merriweather, he's expected back August at some point. We're looking more mid. He should be back now. 4 games, he's got 2 saves, 7 strikeouts, an ERA of 0, and a .46 whip. Now, that bullpen definitely could have used him this year. Now that we've covered off the IL, let's take a look at what we have in the system. Nate Pearson had a rough game against the Astros in May, was optioned to the Bisons to continue rehabbing, and was put on the 7-day DL in late June, struggling with a sports hernia. Now, he's pretty much ready to go, and joining the bullpen is going to be huge for the team. They've been trying to stretch him out over the last few years, but as I've always said, this kid is a closer. He's not a failed starter. He is a closer. His stuff is hard and nasty, and is perfect for late-game situations. If it looks like a closer, walks like a closer, talks like a closer, throws like a closer, he's a closer. Taylor Saucedo. An 11 and a 2/3 inning pitched, Saucedo has a 1.54 ERA with 12 strikeouts and a .86 whip in 13 appearances. He's going to be a vital piece to this bullpen going into battle. Patrick Murphy. He had a couple of rough appearances against Baltimore and Seattle, but other than that, he's pitched quite well this year. Outside of those 2 blowups and in 3 innings and 2/3, he's had no hit ball. What you got for me? Now that we've covered off all of our internal options, let's navigate our way through all that is out there that is being offered for your prospect capital. Let's start with Baltimore. With the way their staff's been this year, there's not a lot of arms I'd be interested in, so that's a hard pass. Cleveland, they're most likely going to go and hold on to all of their young, controllable pitchers. Bieber's not going anywhere, so hard pass for me. Detroit, it could be interesting, but again, they're in a rebuild, and the only one I might be interested in would be Matt Boyd, but he is only 3-6 this year with a 3.44 ERA. So let's say that's like going to be a pass. Kansas City, I would only want Danny Duffy from them, but all signs point to them keeping Duffy, so they're going to be a hard pass. Minnesota, I do like Taylor Rogers. He's 2-4 with a 3.35 ERA, but 9 saves and 40 innings pitched. He has blown 4 saves this year, but so have the Jays. Well beyond the 4 saves. Seattle, wish Giles would have stayed. Could have definitely been a better fit, but everyone else on that staff, they're all injured and on the 60-day DL, so that's a hard pass. From the Angels, I would be interested in Alex Cobb. He is 7-3 with a 3.82 ERA and 77 innings pitched, but that's about it. In Texas, I like the idea of Kyle Gibson. He's 6-3 on the year with a 2.87 ERA, 94 strikeouts, and 113 innings pitched. He's coming off of a July where he didn't win much, but if you can get this done for on the cheap side, probably a good move to make. And then the other one from Texas would be Ian Kennedy. He's 15-16 in save opportunities with a 2.59 ERA in 15 innings pitched. Coming out of Washington, I do like Brad Hand. He's got 20 saves on the year, including 5 wins and a 2.63 ERA. Could be definitely a good option at closer. From Miami, the only arm I like would be Sixto Sanchez, so it's a hard pass. He's not going anywhere. St. Louis, not sure if it's in the realm of possibility, but a closer that's got AL East experience and AL East domination in Andrew Miller. Now, he's older at 36, but he does have 20 strikeouts and 21 innings pitched, and he hasn't been closing in St. Louis, so St. Louis may be interested in moving him. But again, if the price is right. Chicago, Cubs, Craig Kimbrell, he's 1-3 with 22 saves and a .51 ERA and 35 innings pitched. He has blown 2 saves this year, but everyone is going to be in on him. The Dodgers, the Padres, everyone's going to try and get this guy on their team, and I think the prospect capital in return for Kimbrell's services is going to be much too high for the Jays. From Pittsburgh, I think Tyler Anderson is a decent option. With the lack of run support in Pittsburgh, he is 5-8 with a 4.35 ERA and 103 innings pitched, and he was 2-0 in July and has been stringing together pretty decent starts. The other is Richard Rodriguez. He's the other option. However, the spin rate has dropped since the sticky substances ban. So there may be an indication here that he was using something. He was 4-2 with 14 saves and a 2.82 ERA. But in July, after the ban was put in place, he was 1-1 with 4 saves and a 6.75 ERA. Colorado, John Gray's pretty much the only arm I would want off this staff, but he is not going anywhere as he said he wants to stay and Colorado wants to keep him. So let's make it a pass. Arizona, Merrill Kelly is an interesting piece. He's 7-7 with a 4.39 ERA and 123 innings pitched to go along with 105 strikeouts. Now, it may not take a lot to get a deal done, but he hasn't been getting run support from the Diamondbacks, who have the worst run differential in the league. So I think with maybe a stout offense behind Kelly, he'll be able to pitch a little more comfortable with the lead. So he could be an interesting piece there. This is what I would do. If I had the keys to the front office and all the phone numbers required to get things done without giving up too much prospect capital in return, here's option 1. Firstly, I'd pull the trigger, pick up Merrill Kelly, Andrew Miller, and Brad Hand. This will definitely push back the amount of prospect capital it would take to get deals done that could impact the team, obviously leaving the offense alone. So rotation is going to look like this. Ryu, Matz, Ray, Kelly, Manoah. Your bullpen is going to be Stripling, Richards, Saucedo, Romano, Merriweather, DeLeese, Simber, Murphy, Chatwood, Castor, Nate Pearson setting up, Hand closing, Miller closing. You've got 2 options there. The second option here, now if we're able to spend a little bit more capital, I would love to move Manoah to the bullpen, pick up Alex Cobb from the Angels and Gibson from the Rangers, still pick up Miller in Hand, and maybe add Taylor Rogers from Cleveland, solidifying the back of that bullpen a lot more. Rotation would look like this. Ryu, Matz, Cobb, Ray, Gibson. Bullpen, you got Manoah, Stripling, Richards, Saucedo, Romano, Merriweather, DeLeese, Simber, Chatwood, Castor. Then you've got Rogers and Pearson setting up and Hand and Miller closing. Option 3, maybe more of an all-in. Pick up Gibson from Texas, Cobb from LA, Hand, Miller, and Kimbrell. This pushes the game to a 6-inning for the Jays. If Pearson's effective, it could be more of a 5-inning game. And if Miller can still put out 2, you've got a 4-inning game. Now, your rotation is going to look like this. Ryu, Matz, Cobb, Ray, Gibson. Bullpen's going to be Manoah, Stripling, Richards, Cecito, Romano, Merriweather, DeLeese, Simber, Chatwood, Castor. You've got Pearson setting up, and then you've got 3 closers that you can use at any point in time to hammer down late inning games. Now remember, a strong pitching staff allows that offense to be a little bit more patient, but with an offense as stout as the Jays have, solidifying that bullpen and adding a couple of the back-end rotation guys with some experience could go a long way towards the Jays duplicating what happened in 2015. That's it for us here at the Jays Roundup and our special edition of Deadline Day. I'm Junior. We'd love to have you on this offside and out of bound journey, so please consider subscribing, hit that like button. Let us know if you think our moves are bad, and also keep your eyes out as we will be having a more in-depth deadline show where we're going to talk about the rest of the league coming up the night before the deadline, and then the day after the deadline we're going to break down the trades that happened and see how things are set up for the rest of the year. So again, for Offside and Out of Bounds, I am Junior, the Jays Roundup, Deadline Day. Thanks for watching. See you real soon.